What's up, guys? Crypto Muser here with your daily news and analysis in the crypto markets. Now, yesterday morning, Digital Perspectives channel put out a roundtable chat with, it had about three attorney members in the XRP community with Jeremy Hogan, John Deaton, Attorney Seal, a digital asset investor was in there. Linda, I forget what her last name is, but she is a financial advisor. Great discussion about the Ripple SEC case. A great discussion. It was about an hour and a half long. A lot of insider information about XRP and Ripple and everything going on. I definitely recommend you guys check it out because, amazing chat, amazing video. Let's just watch a quick snippet of that where Attorney Seal talks about the smoking gun, which the SEC is trying to hide and all this. So let's just watch this video and then we'll talk about it after here.
I know Jeremy's had a few takes on it, but I honestly think, it seems like there's been 3 or 4 requests for these 63 emails to date with nothing being produced. And I know, now it seems that the SEC has sort of changed directions midstream from the Hinman speech being sort of his personal opinion to it being now more of a direction of where the SEC, making it more of a SEC official statement. So it's interesting. I honestly think there's a smoking gun in there somewhere that, they're going to go take all measures to sort of keep that smoking gun sort of buried, right? So it's been months now. I think when was the first time that it was ordered, those emails ordered released? It was
May of last year.
Yeah, it was May, and then there was then they had a hearing, then they had an in-camera, review, and now they've got that motion to reconsider. It seems that they've taken quite a few steps, whether they've left their comfort zone or not, to protect whatever's in those emails. So to me, it seems like there's something that they don't want everybody to see.
Now, he's touching on a subject there that I've been talking about a lot on this channel, is that those 63 emails that have to do with the Hinman speech that he gave back in 2018, these are the documents that the SEC is trying to protect the most. He just mentioned, and Jeremy Hogan stepped in and said, this was supposed to be handed over to Ripple back in April of last year. So you were talking about 8 months later, and they still haven't turned over those emails. Obviously, there's something in there that they don't want Ripple to see, and they don't want the public to see. And he talks about the smoking gun. And, like I said, I've mentioned this a lot on this channel. I do not think that those emails will ever be handed over to Ripple or the public. I believe that is the smoking gun. That is the end all of this case. And basically what the SEC is doing is they're trying to delay. Look, they've delayed it from April till now, and they're still delaying it, and they can still delay it another 3 months. At least 2 or 3 months, because as I've said before, the email. So Judge Netburn, the court judge of the discovery phase, she's going to come in with her ruling about those emails, and she probably any day now, she will probably tell the SEC that they need to hand over those documents. Then SEC will appeal, 100%, right? They will appeal that ruling to Judge Torres, the main judge of the case. And then Judge Torres will take 2-3 weeks to come up with her ruling, where she'll tell the SEC to hand over those emails, and then the SEC can appeal that again to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. This is the legal the legal system that we live in. They can just keep delaying, and it's usually the defendant that does something like this. It's not usually the prosecutor. It's not usually the people that brought the case down are the ones that are delaying the case. So this is definitely out of the ordinary, but this is what the SEC is doing. And like Attorney Seal and Jeremy Hogan are saying there, it seems like the SEC is going to delay as much as they can because it is the only power they have left in this case. So, all of us would love to see what's in those emails, obviously, but I just do not think that we will ever see what's in those emails, which is sad to see because, a government agency like the SEC that claimed to be transparent is nothing but that, right? So definitely check out this roundtable, guys. The information in there was unbelievable. Anybody involved in XRP needs to watch this. So go check it out. I think it was up on Digital Perspectives YouTube channel. But before I get into the rest of the video, if you guys could please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, it'd be very much appreciated. But let's get right into it. The first thing I have here, so this is Digital Perspectives. He posted this. So I think it's every month or so, Ripple does this thing called the Ripple Drop, where they have an employee from Ripple that comes on, gives an interview, gives some insight on what the company's doing and the growth of the company and their products. And they had Ashish Birla on. Ashish Birla is the general manager of RippleNet. He's been there from day one, almost 8 years now. And he basically gives this interview, and it's just a quick snippet. It's like a 30-second snippet here. But the thing at the end of the interview is what, really was amazing to hear. He says now that ODL is basically almost has global coverage around the world. So why is that big? I mean, since day one, Ripple has been basically trying to build this foundation, this infrastructure of this new financial payment system. And what they're going after, is I've talked about on this channel, is that $400 trillion a year market of the SWIFT platform, right? So if ODL is finally almost has that global coverage, what that means is that that foundation is basically almost 100% set. So basically now they can just flip the switch and switch over to that RippleNet ODL platform instead of that SWIFT platform that, we've talked about. It's almost 50 years old. It's old. It's clunky. It costs too much money. There's too many fees involved. 3 to 5 days to move money. ODL, 3 to 5 seconds. Instant payments. No fees involved, or very minimal at least. We've been talking about this for years within the XRP community. When our financial institutions going to finally move towards the new digital way of doing things, right? What this is telling me in this interview is that Ripple is ready to go. And that should be very bullish for everybody out there, especially here in the XRP community, because we've been waiting for this for years, right? So what I'm seeing in this interview, what I'm seeing, with everything around Ripple right now, especially with this lawsuit, it's this like final hurdle we're jumping through that Ripple needs to jump through. They went through the FinCEN, they went through the CFTC. Now the SEC is that last hurdle to get through, and it looks like that obviously that lawsuit will end soon enough. And as soon as they do, they go public, and I'm telling you right now, Ripple's going to be the biggest company in the world. I mean, we've talked about this. The SWIFT platform is a cross-border payments is a $400 trillion a year market. So, I mean, do you guys understand how big that number is? $400 trillion is it's quite the market to go after, right? That's why it's been so hard for them to really break through in this cross-border payment system, is because this SWIFT system has basically been around for 50 plus years now, and these old institutions have been using it for years, and they like the fees, they like the middlemen, they like the way it works. But now they have an alternative that is cheaper, faster, and more liquid, and you're seeing countries, institutions finally getting on board. Before they were a little afraid of the technology, they didn't understand it, but they've basically been piloting this technology through Ripple for years now, since some institutions have been piloting it since 2016. So these companies finally are comfortable with it. They understand the technology, and now it's time to basically flip the switch. Hate to use that phrase, but flip the switch, and ODL will replace SWIFT. And we've talked about the price of XRP, what it could be if they took 5%, 10% of that SWIFT platform. And I'm just telling you right now, I'm not trying to be a crazy moon boy here, but the price of XRP will be let's just put it this way. The price of XRP will be much, much higher than it is today if they get 5 to 10% of that SWIFT platform, which they're trying to go after it all, by the way. So, just leave it at that. So let's just listen to this interview real quick. It's only a 30-second interview just to hear Ashish Birla, what he says at the end here.
For our customers.
What kind of growth have you seen on RippleNet in 2021?
So I couldn't be happier with the year that we had in 2021 with RippleNet. We ended the year at a $10 billion run rate in terms of volume moving through RippleNet as a whole. And we're in 22 destination markets with on-demand liquidity. And that was a core piece of feedback that we heard from customers. They want that product, but they want it in more destinations. We're close to having global coverage of ODL, which is super exciting.
And main reason why these institutions haven't really adopted ODL yet is because it utilizes XRP, a digital asset, and with everything going on around the world, there's still that uncertainty around digital assets. What's the regulation? What's going to be legal? What's a security? What's not a security? And this is why regulation within the U.S. and around the world is so important, right? But you're seeing finally a push forward with the UK, with the EU, and the United States with this recent executive order. So, things are moving in the right direction for this to really take off in the coming months to years. So just keep an eye on everything going on, guys. If you're watching this channel, if you're invested in XRP, do your research, guys, because the information is there if you look for it, right? When people are talking crap about XRP and Ripple, they just haven't done their research, bottom line. I mean, I've been doing research in this for years now, and I would love to, I do have debates all the time on Twitter and obviously with my friends and family and about this. But if you have any questions, if you have any doubts about this, leave a comment down below. I will be glad to answer any questions you guys have about this. So, like I said, do your research, and when you make your investments into things, you got to do your due diligence. You have to do your research. Make sure you know what you're investing in. So let's move on to the next thing here. I tweeted this out. So it's just every time I see this, it just irks me and pains me. So there was a hearing yesterday about how crypto is used for nefarious activities. Getting around Russian sanctions and all this BS. And Elizabeth Warren especially. I don't know if you guys know who Elizabeth Warren is, but she is my senator, actually. I'm from Massachusetts, so I have to deal with her on a regular basis. But she was on, and she was, let's just get into this tweet, actually. These uneducated politicians writing bills that would hurt everyday people, claiming it's in the best interest, in our best interest, is astonishing. All because they think Russia and our adversaries will use crypto to get around sanctions. I call the BS. So, Nareej Agrawal, I guess his name, nailed it. A rushed knee-jerk bill was introduced in Congress. It flies in the face of what the industry and the administration's own experts say about cryptocurrency sanctions risk. Now, let's just listen to this. Actually, let's see what Moon Lambo said about it first. So, 100% true. Senator Warren has demonstrated that she is not interested in having an intellectually honest conversation about crypto and blockchain tech. And in fact, I don't know how this false narrative she drives could be anything other than intentional at this point. What's her motive? And Haley Lennon, this is basically a tweet by Haley Lennon. Watching Senator Warren interrupt Jonathan Levin over and over as he tries to informatively answer a question should tell you all you need to know about how little she actually wants to learn about this. Let's just listen to this. Like when I heard this, guys, oh man, this woman, I don't want to get into it, but this woman, man, I can't stand her. I can't stand her.
Mr. Levin, let's consider one of Putin's cronies who already has $1 billion or so in crypto that he wants to hide from the governments that are enforcing sanctions on oligarchs. Now, can this oligarch make it harder to trace his money if he hops from one blockchain to another, if he deposits those tokens into a couple of wallets that don't require him to provide identifying information, and if he uses a mixing service that launders his money with other people's money?
Thank you, Senator. So the scenario that you describe, where an oligarch has $1 billion to be able to launder, requires significant amounts of liquidity to be able to obfuscate that amount of money through the use of cryptocurrency. In fact, many times we've been able to identify...
I'm sorry, let me just remind you of what my question was again. What I'm asking is about the tools that are available. Now, he may have to break it up into multiple pieces of, who knows, $100 million at a crack. But the question I'm asking is, does hopping from one blockchain to another Does depositing tokens in a couple of wallets that don't require him to provide identifying information, and does using a mixing service all make it easier for him to hide his money?
So, Senator, the answer to that question is no, because the chain hopping that occurs, you need to actually provide the tokens, which in a transparent way that allows you to move across blockchains. We've actually got software that allows
so
you
you
to.
don't think chain hopping makes it any easier to hide your money? How about depositing tokens in wallets that don't require identifying information?
You can always split the money up into wallets that don't require.
And that would help hide the money. And how about using a
But
mixing service?
that doesn't remove the record of where the money actually sits.
But the question
so
I'm asking is, does it make it harder to track the money?
No, so it doesn't make it harder to track the money
And
because
using a
there is
mixing service, you're telling me doesn't make it harder to launder money?
the daily liquidity value of mixing services globally is about $30 million.
So you
And
might
so
have
therefore
to do this day by day?
And we have done extensive work in tracking large sums of money through mixers that have led to the arrests of people and the disruption of their activity.
You know, I'm actually a little surprised by your answer, since you charge a lot of money to untangle and track assets through the system, and the system keeps developing more ways to obscure that money, and that's part of what you advertise.
I mean, this woman. I mean, let the guy answer the question, right? If you ask a question to a market leader, why don't you let the man answer the question? What this woman doesn't understand, and I hate, you guys understand, I don't like Elizabeth Warren, but just because she just is a fake progressive. Now, any real progressive should be 100% for crypto, right? It levels the playing field and gives people financial freedom. She's a fraud, right? She supposedly stands for the people, but she is far from that. But sorry, I won't get into that. But what she doesn't understand is that crypto is 100% transparent. You can't hide the money. That's why these hackings, these frauds that have happened, these people have not gotten away with it because they cannot get the money out, right? They can't. If they have the Bitcoin, it's tracked. They know where it is. So if they try to convert it into fiat, they can't do it, right? It's impossible. It would be stupid for these oligarchs to use crypto to try to get around sanctions and to try to move money and launder money, because it is 100% transparent, and she should know this. She's not an idiot. Even though she sounds like an idiot here, she's not an idiot. She should just educate herself more. And now she's putting together, she just introduced a bill that is, idiotic at this point. Like, if you're gonna put a bill out there, you'd think you want to put some thought into it, get some education on what's going on in all this before you try to put a bill through to Congress. And that just shows you how Congress works, right? It's always on a transactional basis, right? They just go, they get one part of information, they want to push through legislation right away without actually, reading and educating yourself on the actual technology and how it works. So, it just pains me to see Senator Warren, again and again do this, because she is a smarter person than this. She's coming across like she knows what she's talking about, but she obviously does not, right? So hopefully someone, educates her in all this, but it's just painful to see something like this. And it's painful to see that they're trying to get through legislation that would hurt, everyday people. And, I just don't think it's going to pass. At this point, there's enough information out there. There's enough congressmen out there that understand this, that have actually educated themselves and know that this is not a real thing. You cannot get around sanctions. I think the Justice Department and the Treasury Department have come out now and said, and these are people in her own party are coming out and saying that we don't see any data that these oligarchs or any of these nefarious activities are happening through crypto. We actually see the benefits of crypto, and this is where I guess my next thing. This was on Squawk Box on CNBC or SCNBC. She's from the Blockchain Association. I forget what her name is. Her name is Perry Ann. I guess I don't know her full name, but she was on Squawk Box where they actually talked about this and talked about that hearing. And let's just hear what she has to say about all this.
Really, I think the two things that you hear most about crypto or Bitcoin in particular, one, you hear I coined a word that I guess is a word, but it's used for nefarious purposes, whether it's money laundering or in this case, It's nefarity. It's used for nefarity. And then the other is the energy usage and climate change and all, and that as well is the two tropes that you always hear posited by bears or people that are negative on it. Is she onto something? Senator Warren onto something? Should we be concerned about the use of Bitcoin for things that we don't want to happen?
Like Senator Warren stated yesterday in the Senate banking hearing, that she was surprised by the facts that she learned talking to the technologists who are providing analytic and forensic data to law enforcement. Here are the facts. There is zero evidence or data suggesting that cryptocurrency are being widely used to evade sanctions. Both the FBI and the White House have issued statements just in the past couple of weeks saying that cryptocurrencies are a poor tool for sanctions evasion. FinCEN from the Treasury Department has also said they're not seeing cryptocurrency used to evade sanctions at a wide scale. I think this is a non-issue, and I don't think some of our members of Congress are listening to their own administration. And look, Joe, the most frustrating thing about this is that the story we should be focused on is how cryptocurrency has played a very significant role in Ukraine being able to defend itself against Russia and deploy life-saving aid on the ground in Ukraine. People have donated over $100 million in cryptocurrency to Ukraine. Look, the team that launched the official crypto fund of Ukraine, they testified in Senate banking yesterday, and they stated that it took them 10 minutes to set up the infrastructure to create that fund. 10 minutes. And then the Ministry of Defense was able to purchase and deploy critical supplies on a 24-hour turnaround. This is amazing. This is history being unfolded in front of us on how crypto is changing the way we interact and we transact around the world. We've got to be able to distinguish between the facts and the fears.
Right.
And these knee-jerk reactions to want to regulate cryptocurrency could have significant unintended consequences that could undermine the national security of our allies.
Boom, right? She spot on with what she said there. I couldn't have said it better. People need to stop looking at the nefarious FUD that they talk about, the money laundering, the ransomware attacks, all this BS basically. That's less than 1% of crypto activity is in these nefarious ways, right? You got to start looking through that fear, BS, FUD, and start looking at the real benefits of crypto. And once they start doing that, they understand that this is a great technology for everybody, right? Just wanted to give you guys that quick snippet because if Elizabeth Warren is going to come out with this BS legislation she's trying to push, we need to get to all the facts, and she needs all the facts. So hopefully she will get more educated. It seems like what she said in the beginning here is that after that hearing, Senator Warren maybe gained some knowledge in the field, and hopefully she uses that in the right way in the future. But obviously how I feel about her, so we'll see about that. So the next thing I have here is Jon Stewart. I think people kind of hate on Jon Stewart because I feel like there's this black and white aspect where everything is like blue or red, right? Oh, he's more Democrat, so I don't trust anything he says, or he's Republican, I don't trust anything he says. We got to stop looking at things through this red-blue lens, right? Look at things factually based, subjectively, and understand that this man is actually trying to point out some serious, make some serious points that, we live in a fraudulent financial system. And, like him or hate him for his political views, but you got to understand what he's saying and that he actually cares about the people when he puts out this information. He had 2 episodes on his new show. I forget what the show was called, but it's on Apple TV. But he had 1 episode on the stock market and another episode on the economy. And he really pointed out some serious issues in our system. And, most people maybe don't have the time to look into it or don't understand how it all works, but he really breaks it down into, a little easier way to understand how fraudulent this financial system is and how, the SEC and regulatory agencies and, investment banks and central banks basically, run the market. They have a monopoly on this market. They have this facade out there that retail investors and everyday people, there's a level playing field for everybody to make money, right, in this financial system. But that's BS. And he's really pointing out all that. And just, I want to give this quick snippet of this interview he gave talking about I believe he's talking about the stock market episode that he had on his show.
It's looking at that, and it's pretty clear that the image of the United States as a beacon of free market capitalism, where the government doesn't choose winners and losers, and just this laissez-faire invisible hand creates the wealth. This is how God intended money to be made, is a fabrication and a fallacy. And I think the whole point of the episode was to show that as specifically as we could, and to show that it's all a manipulation. It's just a question of where the powers that be decide to put the emphasis in that moment.
Yep.
So true. So I definitely recommend you guys go check out those 2 episodes. Like I said, get past the whole blue and red bullshit, man. I'm telling you. He's great episodes, very informative. Really gives you that inside information on what's going on. And honestly, that interview he gave to Gary Gensler, I think he made him look like a fool. I think Gary Gensler looked like a fool. He walked in that interview thinking it was going to be a softball interview. And, Gary, maybe he wasn't as tough as we wanted him to be, but I think he was pretty tough. So definitely go check out those 2 episodes on his, like I said, I can't remember the name of his show, but it is on Apple TV. Definitely go check it out, guys, because it's very informative. And it just, like I said, points out those major issues that we have in this fraudulent, so-called free market system. It really is, like I said, eye-opening when they break it down in that way. But so the last thing I want to talk about on the channel is, so I think if you don't know by now, there is a civil lawsuit against Coinbase alleging the offer and sale of unregistered securities, and they list 79 different tokens, including XRP. It's pretty amazing. I think there's only 70. Isn't there only like 79 tokens on Coinbase? The funny thing about all this, right? So I think there's 3 defendants that are suing Coinbase, right? And the funny thing is, this was filed back in October 8th of 2021, and no one even, I've heard nothing about this. And then they just had an amendment in the lawsuit a couple days ago, and then all of a sudden, everybody was talking about it. So I think this is I don't think there's anything to this, honestly. I don't think it's going to, I don't think anything's going to come out of this, but it's really interesting that these people are suing Coinbase for alleging the sale of unregistered securities, and they list 79 different tokens. And guess the 2 tokens they left out of there. What do you think the 2 tokens left out of all the tokens that Coinbase sells? What are the 2 tokens they left out that are not securities? I guess Bitcoin and Ethereum. So why would they have this idea that Bitcoin and Ethereum aren't securities and that everything else is? Would that maybe have something to do with Bill Himmon's speech that he gave back in 2018, where he said that Bitcoin, in quotations, but later we found out we just meant him. We think that Ethereum and Bitcoin are not securities. So it just goes to show that you have people suing Coinbase for alleging the sales of unregistered securities. But for some reason, they don't think Ethereum and Bitcoin are securities. It just goes to show that the SEC has not been clear on the rules. And, you even hear Gary Gensler won't even, when he's asked time and time again, is Ethereum a security or is it not a security? The people in the SEC have mentioned in the past that maybe Ethereum isn't a security. So what do you say about that? And he always says the same thing. We cannot comment on any particular token, right? It's just funny that he won't even reiterate the fact that what everybody's been thinking for the last 4 years plus, that we don't think Bitcoin and Ethereum are securities, right? But it's funny to think if Ethereum is not a security, then all of these 79 different tokens here shouldn't be securities either. I mean, Ethereum had the first ICO, and the SEC has said time and time again that anybody that has an ICO is a security, right? So it's just the clarity obviously is not in the is not there. As much as Gary Gensler and the SEC try to say that the rules are very clear, it couldn't be further from the truth. And I honestly think this lawsuit is just BS. There's no way. I mean, if you're going to say XRP is a security, I mean, obviously they're in a lawsuit right now. I mean, if that lawsuit comes out and XRP is not, then this lawsuit is basically dead in the water, right? So you're seeing a lot of, I mean, this library case, you got the Ripple case, and now you have this case. And honestly, there's some connections here. It's so funny seeing on Twitter the XRP community just digs up the dirt so quickly. And I guess there's some connection with the defendants in this lawsuit with Gary Gensler, chair of the SEC. So, wouldn't surprise me at all that this could be some inside move from the SEC to, they can't sue Coinbase. So they had these, 3 defendants sue them instead to start basically to open up the information so they can get more information out of Coinbase. Just shady moves. I mean, the SEC is so shady. It's like, if you've been watching my channel, I've been pointing out the fact that the SEC is basically these mob mentality bullies that they do everything. They don't do anything on behalf of investors. They do everything for themselves. And it's just sad to see that this is the type of thing we have to deal with in this country, especially here in 2022. So I guess I'll just end the video there, guys. But remember, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. But remember, this is not financial advice. Please do not take anything I write or say as financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. And thanks, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.